Director Brems,
Present.
Director Cardenas,
Here.
Director Daly,
Here.
Director Gettle,
Here.
Director Keegley, Director McCalman,
Here.
Director Peterson, Director Prokopis,
Here.
Celestini,
Me? Here. Sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
Thank you. The next item is a public comment. I know we have one, maybe others. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, I mean, the very first thing top of mind is I know that the chief may want to handle this, but our condolences and prayers run out to the officers of Tremont and Garland that were murdered. We all are concerned with anytime our officers are dispatched to one of these domestic situations, and they're fraught with danger. And this is just an example of what can happen, and it's sobering, and I'm very sorry about it. I have a couple of other things I'd like to talk about in public comment on a different note. The first thing is I came in this morning and I saw all of our code enforcement officers looking out the window. And actually, when I walked into the building after going to the gym, I saw all the UPD officers in the world running out of our building here. And, you know, I kind of wondered what was going on. So I know that they're executing a warrant in Mill Creek, and I'm really happy about that based upon the concerns that I've received from our community about what they're doing. I won't go into detail about that, and I wouldn't normally know about that except for those circumstances, but I really appreciate that. And my other public comment relates to that. So many of you know on July 25th, we had a devastating fire in Mill Creek that burned down 2 apartment units, 24 units of housing for folks. And it was a grass fire that started and raged basically in high winds, and the flames engulfed the buildings that were just completely destroyed very rapidly, to the point where our UFA officers, which I also want to thank, and UPD officers that responded to that scene, barely had time to get people out of their apartments to save their lives. And fortunately, and thanks to the credit of our police department and our fire department, no lives were lost, no human lives were lost. There were some animals and pets that were not able to be rescued. There's been a great effort to try to recover some of the animals that did get out of the building, and there have been like about 9 cats, I think, that have been reunited with their owners as a result of those efforts. But it's really a devastating thing that happened to 23 households. One of the units was not occupied, but 23 households lost everything in that fire. Many of them were only able to leave with the clothes that they were wearing. And so they lost everything. Some of them even lost their cars because cars were burning in the carports that were associated with the project. In spite of that tragedy, as I mentioned, we're pleased that no lives were lost. And I want to thank the officers of Unified Police Department. And I know that officers from all the precincts in the department responded to this, not only to evacuate people, but also to secure the scene and to make sure that it was, they kept people out and controlled traffic. They had to control traffic for about 2 days, I think, after the event to basically enable the work that needed to be done to get the fire out. It was a complicated fire because it involved a wildland component as well as structure component, and so a lot of work. And I know that I and my council and our residents really appreciate the service that was rendered for us on that day. The other good thing that I can say about this is the response of our Mill Creek community and the entire state, really, but Salt Lake County in particular, for these victims has been actually just remarkable and uplifting, I would say. We requested donations of physical items, clothing, toiletry items, household items, and our city hall was stocked to the brim with that. Those of you who work in this building know that we had this room full, our emergency operations center full, our 6th floor ballroom full, and ultimately we were able to distribute a lot of those items to those families to enable them to start over. And a lot of that is still in process. We ultimately transferred everything to the Other Side Academy thrift store, and they have a program to allow those folks to still come in because a lot of them weren't able to use those things until they could find new lodging. I want to thank, in addition to UPD and the Unified Fire Authority, also the American Red Cross, which set up a shelter immediately, and they were fantastic. And that, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which provided a chapel to basically act as an overnight shelter. Nobody actually ended up staying there, but it was a command center kind of for our Promise program to be able to connect with the families and households that were there to get contact information for them and to enable us to remain in contact with them. And it also, as a result of the generosity of both the Mill Creek Council and our community, we raised a total of about $108,000 to distribute to these families. Our council contributed just under $12,000 from our general fund, and then donations through our Promise program. We were able to distribute checks to each of these households of about $2,300 on Tuesday following the Friday fire. We had to have a city council meeting before that to authorize that expenditure. And then subsequently, we've distributed an additional check so that each of these households has received about $4,720. And we will probably have a third installment for those folks. The donations and stuff have slowed down. But it's remarkable how this incident generated or struck the heartstrings of the community and enabled that kind of generosity in that really short period of time, which I think, and I know from talking to some of these families, they really appreciated having some money right away, because even if they had any kind of insurance, it took weeks to get that kind of money to process a claim. So anyway, but thanks again to UPD for the work that you guys did, and just another indication of why we appreciate the service that this department renders to our community. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. You are an amazing mayor, a great leader, and Mill Creek is a shining city. Any other comments?
Yeah, I wanted to comment real quickly. For those of you who don't know, Lieutenant Ken Malone retired. His last day was last Friday. His first day after being poached by former Chief Randy Thomas was on Monday with Intermountain Health. But we wish him well in his retirement, and his replacement, Lieutenant Rich Wilson, has been selected. And yes, in the back there, we welcome you to that position. So congratulations.
Thank you for that comment. Any others?
Good morning. We want to take this time to recognize one of our board members who has just stepped off the board. My name is Jaime Cardenas. I'm Vice President at Large for the association who represents the Unified Police employees. And this is Sergeant Ed Miono and Sergeant Robert Cook. If we can have Sergeant Scott Wilberger come up. So many of you know Sergeant Scott Wilberger was part of our board for many years, and he's given a lot of time to the employees, and we want to take this time to recognize him. Because of his new assignment, he had to step off the board. Fantastic person, fantastic advocate for our employees, and we want to present him with this plaque. And we want to thank him for the many hours that he's given the employees and the dedication that he's given. So fantastic person, fantastic board member, and we love him. So this is for you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So again, we appreciate the time letting us go there. You have a fantastic man here and a leader, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments? We'll move on. Chief Olson, please.
Share my screen. Okay, good morning. So this morning I wanted to follow up on the request from former Chief Bertram. He spoke with you at the last meeting regarding the post-retirement medical insurance issues and made a request that be reinstated. I just wanted to provide some history with that and then explain to you what the impacts of that could be, depending on those that would be eligible. So I've given each of you a copy of this. It's also up on the screen for those online. Back in 2010, when UPD was formed, we adopted all of Salt Lake County's policies, including the other post-employment benefits, which included the medical and dental insurance. So at that time, members could take the medical or dental at an 80-20 split for the first 18 months of retirement, and then that went to a 60-40 split after that time, at which point most people dropped the benefit because it got just too expensive. One of the caveats was if the member selected only dental, that created what we called a tether to the medical insurance. So they could just maintain dental insurance, and then at a later time, whenever they chose, they could opt back into the medical. So that's what the tether means. And we'll get back to that here in just a second. So fast forward to 2017, GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, changed the rules on the way that organizations had to account for that benefit. They had to fully fund it. Prior to that, they only had to fund a portion of it. And so that was just unsustainable. And many of you were here for that. And the UPD board at that time decided to eliminate the benefit. In lieu of that benefit, for existing members that remained employed, they gave a one-time $5,000 payment at time of retirement or when they hit 20 years of service. And that included civilians. Normally, civilians have a 30-year retirement, but just to make things simple, we said once you hit 20 years in the URS system, you get this benefit, this $5,000 payout. For members that chose to retire prior to May 31st, 2017, they were given the option to elect the post-employment benefit. Anyone that stayed beyond that benefit ended. So at the time of May 31st, 2017, members were asked to make an election of either taking dental only, medical only, or both. And so when that happened, all of the members that had previously retired that were taking advantage of this plan were sent notice via certified mail. We sent these letters out to all of those people and advised them of this change and told them that they had to make the election of either dental, medical, or both. And so at that time, those folks made those changes in the open enrollment process, and that took effect on July 1st of 2017. So that's kind of the history. I'll get into the impacts now. So do you have any questions about any of that before I move on? Okay. So as of today, there are 11 post-retired members that are still enrolled in that benefit. 4 of those have elected the medical and dental, and all of the 11 have the dental benefit. So there you can see these folks will age out when they turn 65 and are eligible for Medicare. They're no longer eligible for this benefit. And so you can see there what that time frame looks like. There'll be 3 in the next fiscal year that age out, and then just 1 or 2 every year after that, until 2035 when all of this will be washed out. The current plan costs for our dental this is UPD's expenses for these plans. The dental is $45.69 per month. The medical is $654.18 a month. So you can see there with the total impact to the organization right now is $37,431.72. So if all 11 or 7 of the other members that didn't elect the medical are allowed to opt into medical, you can see what that impact there would be, or potentially be if they all did. It would cost the organization about $54,951 annually. And that's an ongoing expense as those folks age out, right? So that would decrease over time until 2035 when the whole liability would be washed out. So one other consideration that I wanted to bring to your attention, and in my mind, this creates a bit of a risk for the organization. If we allow this change, in 2018, we got a new CFO, Lisa Dudley. You're familiar with Lisa. So when she came in, she changed that 60-40 split that members had gone to after the 18 months. Everybody just stayed at an 80-20 split. And so all of those folks that dropped the benefit because the price went up, right? The concern is that those folks would come back and now ask, because we're making changes to this program, to be reinstated. And then if they're reinstated, if you chose to do that, then they would also be eligible for this medical benefit if we do that. So on the last page there, I just did a quick projection of what that might look like if there's 28 of those people that would be eligible to come back that have not aged out yet. And that could have an annual impact of about $235,000.
So Chief, just so I understand this, the 4 that have elected medical and dental are on an 80-20 split?
Yes, currently. That changed again in 2018.
Chief, are any of these, you said they had the option to choose dental, medical, or both.
Correct.
So we have numbers for medical and dental and numbers for dental only. Is there a number for just medical? Has anyone chosen that one option?
No, everybody has dental. And so in order to be in the program, you have to have one or the other, but everybody took the dental and then only 4 took the medical.
Okay.
So the 60-40, 80-20 issue, was that a policy decision of the board or,
To my understanding, it was just a decision made by the CFO at the time. And I don't know what the rationale there was. I honestly have no idea.
I do have a concern that you've already articulated about the fact that changing what our program has been would be perceived to be unfair to those that made an election previously, and that they might want to say "me too" on that, and the liability that presents to the department is significant. I think that's a critical factor in considering what we do on this.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I've had one conversation since I've taken on this role as the HR director with a former member that called me asking if he could re-enroll in the post-retirement medical insurance. So I know the desire is there. There's some folks out there that would like to get back into this program if that was an option.
Chief, can you clarify the ask of Chief Bertram? Is the ask that, so we've got these 11 people that are on the program in whether it be dental or medical. Is his argument or is his ask that these other 28?
No.
What's the ask?
So his ask is that the 11 that are currently enrolled in the program, or the 7 that didn't opt for the medical, have that option to get back into the medical.
And so, but previously it says you have to, depending on when you were hired, you have to either select both or dental. And once you make that selection, that's it. And so he's arguing that.
Yeah.
Why is he arguing that they should, if that was the policy, what's his argument that they be able to come back and ask for the medical?
So to my understanding, and I don't want to put words in Mr. Bertram's mouth, but my understanding of his argument was that when people made a decision to retire, the benefit was there. The tether still existed where they could opt back into medical at a later time. We eliminated that tether in 2017.
After he had
retired. He retired in 2015. And so he made a informed decision, if you will, based on the available benefits at that time. And then we changed the rules basically 2 years later. And so that's his argument, is that the rules changed. He wants now to opt back in. We did send him a certified letter in 2017 telling him this is your one opportunity to do that. And he elected not to do that at that time. So, I get both sides of the argument. I can certainly see his point of view. But we did give him that notice and he elected just the dental at that time.
It was, when he got that letter, was it a 60-40 split or an 80-20 split?
It was, at that time, it would have still been a 60-40 split. That didn't change until 2018.
So if, I'm not an attorney, Mayor, so had there been an 80-20 split at the time he received that letter, do you think he would have elected to stay on the medical?
Potentially. I mean, it would have been cheaper. So yeah, that's a good possibility.
It just concerns me a little bit that it seems like there was an arbitrary decision made to go from 60-40 to 80-20.
Yeah.
And whether it's 60-40 or 80-20 is material to what decision you're going to make, I think.
Angie, do you know what the rationale there was?
Lisa had said that it was policy that we're not supposed to do the 60-40 because it was OPED. And so we changed it. And what happened is a bunch of people that were still on the medical ended up with credits. And so we had to account for all the money they had paid for medical. About it.
Yeah.
And then it's about $654 per month for us right now to carry an employee on medical. And as PHP increases, that increases on our side as well.
Did you have a question? Okay.
Has this been discussed in like the benefits and compensation committee? Because I feel like that would be a great place for that to be discussed in further detail. I mean, I work for the Office of Medicaid in my other role. But some of these issues, like there's issues of fairness, and then there's issues of insurance benefits. And, I think all of us up here want to do the thing that's the most fair.
Sure.
But these are complicated medical insurance benefit questions that, I think are just a little bit more difficult for all of us to answer rather than getting an opinion from a committee who has at least shown interest or has the vocational experience to understand that. Because the one thing that jumps out at me, you said people opt out or they age out at 65 when they're eligible for Medicare, but Medicare doesn't cover dental services. So I'm not, that's a question that came to mind during this discussion. So I don't know. This is a very complicated one. As you said, I see both sides to the argument and I think we can't put words into these members' mouths to say what they would or would not have done. But it's fair to me to say that if it was an 80-20 split, they might have made a different decision at the time.
Sure.
In between 2017 and 2018, is this the first instance where somebody came back saying, hey, can I switch?
Yeah, so in a formal sense, I did have that one phone conversation with a member that called me asking if that was an option to get back into medical, and I just told him it's not. We don't provide that benefit any longer, so it's just not an option.
I understand that this is a benefits and comp issue. However, I think referring this back to that committee and having it come back here would just be kicking the can down the road. And I think, at least from my perspective, I have enough information to make a decision on this. I appreciate the fact that things change, and we can't always predict things that might change. But when people made a decision based upon the available information, the fact that that plan may have changed in a couple of years due to the circumstances of the department or other considerations, that is not appealing to me in terms of an appeal to change a decision, an election that somebody made at the time. And I think an election was made to not have the benefit, and I don't see a reason to to change this, especially given the impact it has on the department and the potential liability that we would have if other people wanted them to make the same kind of argument. I mean, where does it end? So I'm comfortable declining the request of Mr. Bertram.
Okay. If the board decides that you would like a benefits and compensation committee, I'm more than happy to put that together. We can discuss it there. If you want to make a decision today, that's fine too. I'm here for any other questions that you might have.
I had one other question. Is there any way to further reduce the number of people who have the exact same scenario as, and I forget his last name, the former Chief Bertram? Are there 11 people who meet his exact circumstances? Or
There's 7 that meet his exact circumstance.
Okay. So that number has now been reduced in all of these figures in our packet, if it's 7.
So this is based on the potential liability for everybody, yes. So there's the 4 that already exist plus the 7. That's the total number.
Yeah, I mean, I recall when we went through all this, it was a very difficult discussion. It was not popular with the employees, which I get.
Yeah.
But I have to go back in my mind because it's been a while. And I was involved with it. And we basically made the decision as a board, as every other, I think, municipality at that time had made, that they had to do away with OPEB. In fact, I think the only surviving, unless I'm wrong, the only surviving entity in the county that still offers OPEB is the county.
It is, but they've eliminated the tether.
So they've eliminated it too. And so,
to my understanding,
I mean, it was a difficult decision then, and I don't think it changes with the information you've provided. So I agree with Mayor Silvestrini that, you know, if they were given a letter in 2018 that basically says, you know, this is the direction we're going. We know it's not that popular, but make your election. I don't know why you'd want to go back on that. I'm not sure what the issue is with the 28 out there, but I certainly would not want to open up a can of worms in terms of somebody having an argument, the 28 having an argument that they now have a benefit available.
and that's the only reason I brought that up, is just that potential exists, and I just wanted to make you aware of it. Okay.
Any kind of action on this?
Asking for an approval will require a motion to vote.
I'd make a motion to deny the approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I do want to make a comment, and
Yeah, I have a question too. So is there any way of rewriting something so that this would be limited only to the 11 and not to the 28, was it?
Yeah, so the first part of this, the 54,951 is just the 11. That would be the fiscal impact this year, and that would reduce over the next 10 years as this benefit washes out.
Is there a way that we can write in the document that that's the limit, that the other 28 would not qualify for this?
Yeah, so the other 28 is a separate issue. That was the people that dropped the benefit because of this 80-20 split changing to a 60-40 split, right? So that's an entirely different argument. I just wanted to make you aware of that argument because it does exist out there. And so the fear is that members come back and want to address that issue in the future. You know, if we approve this change, then that opens the door for people to say, well, I want this change. And that's why I brought it up. I apologize if I've convoluted the two, but I just wanted to make you aware of that potential because I know that desire exists in some of our former members to come back and get back into this program.
If I could address that question as well, even if we write it to apply to just that, there is an argument we're giving to everyone that by making a change, we've opened the door for everybody to come back and exercise a new option. So that's why I would recommend against that.
Yeah. I know that's a scary number, that $235,000, but that's not an impact of Mr. Bertram's argument. The impact of his argument would be the 54,951.
Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very
I
much.
oppose.
Next
Was that-
item, Chief Mazuryn, please.
All right. Did Prokopis oppose?
Yes, I oppose. Thank you.
And I would like to be recorded as a no as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, board members, for that thoughtful discussion. Quick update. As Mayor Silvestrini referred to, obviously, we've had a very tragic incident occur up north. It's interesting, some of the connection there is you have Tremont and Garland to the north, and then Brigham City to the south, and those two cities work very closely together in terms of supporting each other. It just happens to be that both chiefs of both those cities there are former UPD members that were selected when they were here at our department to go up there to be chiefs. And so we know them well and have worked with them for many, many years. We've been able to be in contact with both those chiefs. And in fact, Chief Hughes and I think it was Sergeant Cook, correct? Went up and visited yesterday and delivered some things to the department and talked to the chief there. We've let them know clearly from hours after the incident that this department's here to support them and give them whatever they need. We have already done that and have received a couple of additional requests, including to help them with staffing for a few days next week. And just to explain that, in those smaller areas, very tight knit, everybody knows everybody. There's less folks, and a lot of the people up in that area and in that county are planning on attending those two funerals. There's going to be two, which I'll address in a minute. And so they're reaching out to some folks farther south with Salt Lake City coordinating. So I talked to Chief Reyes this morning for that official request. And so with the blessing of the council, I'll be coordinating to have some of our officers occasionally for a period of 4 days to go up there and support them. Even though it's a little bit of a distance, and we typically have done that within Salt Lake County. We know how this works. Unfortunately, we've been through this, and so we've shared some of our experience with them, including how to plan funerals and things of that nature. But we normally haven't traveled that far, so we're gonna have to figure out some procedures. But with the blessing and support of the board, I think we need to go up there, and I think we need to help them. So with that said, they're working through that, and we will be there. What I was told this morning, and this information will be getting published here formally soon, but there will be two funerals, one on Thursday and one on Friday at 10 o'clock. One will be at UVU. I think they're going to both be at UVU. And then the procession for the one on Thursday will go to the Logan Cemetery for Officer Estrada. The second one for the sergeant will, I believe, also occur there. And then that will be going down to, I want to say Garland, don't quote me on that. But our motors have offered their assistance. And so we'll be coordinating with those points of contact to support them. And it's kind of a unique situation. You normally don't see that many officers shot in one event. So very difficult thing. Brings back lots of memories. So, but we'll do our part, because when we needed it, they were there for us. So with that said, the suggestion was made, and I like it. We should probably have just a quick moment of silence. So if you'll just join me in that. Thank you. We recently had some promotions. Lieutenant Wilson was promoted along with some sergeants. We want to congratulate them. We also sworn in some new officers. So the next UPD generation is coming along. We're doing well in terms of our recruiting. Sergeant Dawson, who's behind me, has worked incredibly hard. She has me doing interviews constantly. to the point where I don't know when it will ever end, but some of our challenges are not getting people, but that process, that pipeline of hiring to getting them on the road can be lengthy and challenging. And so we're doing well. We just have to deal with the reality of hiring employees. So we're working through that, but things are going well. Our Citizens Academy is coming up. We appreciate everyone planning that. That's going to be starting September 17th. It'll be on Wednesdays from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And so we invite anyone that wants to attend, or if you want to pass that along. We've already invited a number of elected officials and council members, and we're looking forward to getting to know them getting to know their police department better.
Mass, who do I need to reach out to there for that? Talked with April at our last meeting, but hadn't heard back from her. She said she was going to pass my name along to somebody.
Yeah, will you take care of that? Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Andrew Worden, who's helping coordinate that. The next thing, I'm just giving you a heads up because this is a very popular event. Our Halloween event will be held at Holiday again this year. We're going to make some adjustments so that more families and kids can attend. But that, I believe, is on the 24th of October, I think. It'll be the Friday before Halloween. And that should be a really fun event. That's probably one of our most popular events, and we always invite you as board members to attend. It's really fun. And I just want to make a shout out to the honorary colonels for their support of that. Speaking of the honorary colonels, that's a really important organization to us. We are grateful when your precincts host those events. They're incredibly supportive. I did get word from the president that the treasurer, Larry Von Wald, some of you may know him or not, he passed away unexpectedly. And so his funeral will probably be in September, but he was a great support of this organization. And so our condolences to him and his family. The last thing that I wanted to throw out here and maybe do something a little different, the officers that you have are doing incredible work in this organization. I think sometimes, and this is somewhat my fault, I'm not doing a good job of highlighting that enough so you understand what the services that you're getting and some of the incredible work that happens. And so my boss, Harmony McQueen, said, "Hey, why don't you, all these drug busts and some of these things that are happening, why don't you tell the board about that?" And I was like, well, that's a brilliant idea. Thank you. So what I did is I asked Sergeant Aaron Levin to do a very short 5-minute presentation about some of the work that's been done, some of the cases that they've worked on. It's been my experience, if you get the right group of people together, you give them some good leadership, you tell them what the mission is, and you cut them loose, they can be incredibly effective. And I think you're going to see that. In some of the cases he's going to talk about, happen in certain jurisdictional areas. But what I want you to keep in mind is what happens in Mill Creek affects Holiday. What happens in Kearns affects White City. The boundaries that we all get locked into are incredibly fluid when you start talking about the dangers of drugs and criminal activity and those kind of things. So when something good happens over here, it benefits everyone over here. So I want you to keep that in mind. But Sergeant, if you want to plug in, I'll let you come up here and do your thing.
Chief, while you're here, we have a surplus resolution as well.
Yeah. Do you want me to do that now or after the presentation? Or do you want to knock that out right now?
However you'd like to.
While you're getting that up, let's do the surplus resolution. That's okay, Mr. Chair. It's very short. See it on page 2 of your packet. It's about 10 vehicles.
I don't have any questions, Chief. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 25-08-01 to approve the surplus of vehicles.
Second that.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You ready? Okay.
Thank you, Chief Maz. Members of the board, I appreciate the opportunity to come up and kind of share what my unit's been up to the last a little over a year. So when we split from Salt Lake County, a directed enforcement unit was formed that services Mill Creek, White City, Midvale, and Holiday. So that was formed July 1. The unit consists of 4 detectives and I. So there's 5 of us, and we do all sorts of investigations. A lot of it is narcotics, but we'll get into some other special investigations that we've gotten into. If you can see that, this is since July 1. My unit has made 214 arrests, has written and executed 173 search warrants, recovered 53 stolen vehicles, firearms seized 64, U.S. Currency is 130, methamphetamine 105 pounds, fentanyl is 34,000 pills, cocaine 17 pounds, and heroin 5 pounds. So that's the most dope I've ever seen. I've been doing this for 20 years, and that's a lot. That's a lot of dope. So we've been, like I said, we've been really busy. We also take care of the vigilant stuff for Mill Creek and Midvale, White City. We've been putting up cameras for the plate reader system. So you can see that we spend a lot of hours doing that as well. I have 2 task force officers that are actually, I have 4 task force officers that are assigned to either the U.S. Marshals or the ATF. And the reason that we do that is, I put down here, the U.S. Marshals is a fugitive apprehension team. They go after fugitives that are violent fugitives, not just any fugitives. It's a force multiplier for us. When we need them, we have 30 of them knocking at our door. The funding for going after some of these people out of state, out of the country, they're paying for that. So we get huge dividends in that. The ATF, we're part of Project Safe Neighborhood, and that gives us access to E-Trace. We're able to do gun charges a lot faster with our detectives, and we're doing federal cases, which you're looking at a lot more time that people are spending in prison when you go through the federal system. Again, we use their funding too. We use a lot of their money to buy narcotics, to buy guns. And I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. My detectives do a lot of instructing too on the side. I was just looking, or I just adding up all the years of experience in just us 5, and it's almost 100 years. So that's a lot of experience, and they're very dedicated guys too, as you can obviously see. Just to highlight a couple of cases, last year there was a homicide of a 14-year-old boy in Mill Creek. Our unit was asked to go find the people responsible for that. So we assisted the violent crimes unit and ended up going all over the valley and even out of the valley into Washington Terrace to find these guys, bring them back. We were able to write search warrants and recover a couple of firearms as well. This is just a huge case that we did last year in Mill Creek that started off with a stolen vehicle and turned into a huge, as you can see, a network of people that just went on and on throughout the valley. We were recovering stolen vehicles. It was a huge fraud and forgery ring, and there was some narcotics involved in that one as well. You can see 13 stolen vehicles were recovered throughout that, and then we made 18 fugitive arrests, and it was a great case. The fatal hit and run. When we got that photograph that's up there, that's the suspect's vehicle. Because we're on the streets every day, we're talking to people, we're working with confidential informants. We were able to identify that truck immediately. We knew whose truck that was, and we knew who to go after. So we played a pretty big part in that with identifying and going and finding him where he was hiding. A couple of the bigger busts that we've had. This one it's still actually still going, so I have to be a little sensitive of what I share, but this one, we're 3 months into it. We're starting to see the federal indictments on these guys. A lot of them, members that were involved in this, and all of them are repeat offenders. These aren't guys that are going out, the first time, second time. We're talking, all these guys are probably looking at 20 plus years once we take them all into custody. But on this, this one started in Mill Creek, where we got a 6-pound deal from a guy that met up with us at the Walmart in Mill Creek. From there, it just grew legs, and we moved on. Like I say, we're at 8 federal indictments right now. Total amounts, we began working with the ATF and with a neighboring agency to because they ran into some of the same people when they were doing their investigations too. But to date, it's over 100 pounds of methamphetamine, which is huge. I've never seen that much. 15 pounds of cocaine, 4 pounds of heroin, and 75,000 in cash on that one. This one's a weapons violation case. It started with a guy that fled from patrol in Mill Creek. We were asked to go find him. We found him. He gave us this information on a guy that's selling firearms to felons. So what we did was we got together with the ATF. They brought in a professional, confidential informant. He started buying guns from this guy. At the end, we did 2 search warrants, and we recovered 19 firearms. And these guns were going to felons on the street. So it's a big deal when they're at, as you can see, a lot of them are assault rifles and handguns. And this one was a traffic stop just in Midvale, leaving one of the hotels. Ended up using a canine to indicate, one of the UPD canines to do a sniff. He indicated, and there was 18,000 fentanyl pills and 27,000.
I'm glad there's at least one in Midvale.
I'm starting to worry about Mill Creek. Are we safe in this building?
There's a lot. There's a lot everywhere else too. So that was a big one. Both of them were Mexican nationals, and they're facing federal charges before deportation. This one was very recent. This was in Midvale as well. We got intel that this guy was selling fentanyl pills, and we bought a couple of times. Did a search warrant, found 9,000 pills in his room, 2 pounds of methamphetamine, and 24,000 in cash. Just to kind of show you what that's doing. When I say 34,000 pills, I mean, that's a potential overdose, every one of those pills. So that's huge to get that many off the street. We wouldn't be able to do this without the support of Chief Hoyle, Chief Brown, Chief Morris. They've been outstanding, and same with Chief Maz. And with your support, we want to continue doing this and more. So I appreciate your time.
Mr. Chair, so for those board members may or may not know this, but Mill Creek at least started out with a community crime suppression unit, which is the predecessor maybe of this unit that we combined with Midvale. Those officers were, and the same thing with the direct enforcement unit, don't have patrol duties. They just work on this kind of stuff. And they may assist on other things when it's necessary. They might do speed enforcement one day when it's necessary, but the unit was changed in connection with the transition with the county leaving to allow these folks to be to have unmarked cars and be able to go undercover more frequently than they were before. And from what I've heard, the officers like that more. They feel like they're more effective that way to be able to catch the really bad guys. And I know from getting watch logs from Chief Brown that they're incredibly effective. They are taking a lot of drugs off the street, and I congratulate you guys for the work that you're doing. And I'm really pleased that you're being so effective. So thanks.
I appreciate that, Mayor.
Question on those. Are they stolen firearms or
No, they were straw purchases. So he was using his wife to buy them from pawn shops and stuff because she was not a felon. And then he was turning around and selling them to felons.
Just wanted to say thank you for all that you do and the DEU does for not just Midvale, but as you said, something could start in Midvale or Mill Creek apparently, and spill out into all different communities. So we're very fortunate to have you and the DEU unit.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank you. It's very difficult and dangerous work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sergeant Levin. Any other questions for me? That's all I have for my update.
Thank you, Chief.
I appreciate the operational information.
Yeah, we'll do that a little bit more. Make sure you know what's going on. And I guess we've already done the surplus, so if there's no other questions, I'll sit down. Thank you.
Our next item of business is approval of the July 17th, 2025 UPD Board meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion is second. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, upcoming meetings, UPD Finance Committee meeting, September 10th, 2025, 9 a.m. in Mill Creek Precinct. UPD Board meeting, next meeting Thursday, September 18th, 9 o'clock in this meeting, in this room.
Mr. Chair, could I ask that you defer action on item 7 until after the closed session? Just because there may be a follow-up meeting of the UPD board to review a matter that we'll discuss in today's meeting.
Sure, and that's informational only. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, closed session.
Yes, I would request a closed session to discuss pending or threatened litigation.
Mr. Chair, I move that we enter closed session to discuss pending litigation.
Got a roll call vote?
Second.
Director Brems,
Aye.
Director Cardenas,
Aye.
Director Daly,
Yes.
Director Gettle,
Yes.
Director Keegley,
Yes.
Director McKelman, Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Prokopis,
Aye.
Director Silvestrini,
Yes.